This is Fantasy Football Till Death.
So passes Reek, son of Teak, son of Beak, warlock of the third kind. May his soul rest in eternal harmony. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's the FFtilD podcast. I'm your host, Thomas Wright, joined alongside, as always, by my co-host, Sam Singer. Sam, you got your first win of the season. I got my first loss of the season. Order is being restored. How are you feeling on this fine Wednesday morning, my friend?
Oh, feeling pretty good. Feels good to have a win for the first time in a month. Although it's
longer than a month. When was the last time you got a win?
Yeah, that's a good. Yeah, I mean, it probably goes back to last season for sure.
Months and months
now
and
that
months,
I
my
think
friend.
about it. Yeah, ugly win. I would like to take this time to personally thank Adoni Mitchell for gifting me that win, fumbling a touchdown pass from Daniel Jones through the back of the end zone, and what will go down is probably the stupidest play of the season.
What an incredible turn of events that was.
Huge. I mean, that's a 6-point swing right there, and then committing the holding penalty on the Jonathan Taylor 60-yard touchdown knocks, 13 points off
one
the
of the
board
greatest defensive performances of all time by Adoni Mitchell.
Let's go.
Little known or discussed, Adoni Mitchell coming up big for you. We were watching that game from the confines of what was it called? Sidelines Sports Bar and Grill in Marietta, California, after we finished our first ever group Spartan race.
Oh man, and we crushed it.
And it was your first Spartan race. How did you like? Walk me through it. How'd you like the experience?
Oh, what a blast!
Did you have a good time?
It was fun. It was challenging.
Yeah,
it was something like totally new. We all finished, which is great. I think our goal was to finish in an hour. We finished in 1:03, so pretty close. It was hot. It was dirty, and those beers and appetizers were well earned afterwards, weren't they?
Really good time. Super proud of the group. For those of you that don't know, Sam, Casey, Griffin Springfield, Griffin Hunter, and myself took part in the Lake Elsinore Spartan Sprint this past Sunday. We had it planned for a while. We're really excited to kind of get the squad out. We got little matching shirts. We do not sew, from the Kraken's words, the Greyjoys in Game of Thrones. We all met out there early, nice little coffee shop, munched some breakfast, stretched it out, watched DK go off on my bench, then cruised out to the grounds, got all registered, stretched out, and banged it out. It was super good time. Shout out Casey, who's dealing with a knee injury. Very ill-advised run there, but he was determined, stubborn that Casey is, and he got through it. A little worse for the wear, but not too worse for the wear, I would say.
Yeah, he's still questionable going into week 5, but it looks like he's going to get a limited practice in this week. So,
but he sacrificed himself to the drown god, and he got the karmic reward for it. We'll highlight that in a little bit, but yeah, shout out Casey, shout out Hunter, just cruising out there, kind of in his home territory, and just crushed it. Oh, perfect. Looks like Trey Benson, IR. So that's good. Knee surgery for him.
Oh boy.
Anyway, sorry, I need to put my phone down. The harbinger of good news that is my phone distracts me sometimes. But yeah, great job by the guys. Everyone crushed it. Trip, first time for you. And to finish that as a group was really, really fun. We got to hit the sports bar and watch all the games, kind of connect. But going back to that Colts game, I thought it was like a blowout. I thought you were like crushing Jay. I was like half paying attention, just kind of like not in super good spirits about how my matchup was going. So I wasn't really paying attention to the rest of the league. And we see that Adoni play happen, and like you're like so stoked from it. And I went and checked the matchup, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is actually pretty close. Like that actually might have swung it a little bit.
100%.
Jay's favor.
Yeah, that's been the season for me this year. Team starts hot, things are looking good in the first half of those morning games, and things fizzle, injuries, whatever you want to call it, poor second halves. So thank you, Adoni. I'm 1-3. I don't deserve it, but because of you, I still have a shot at 11-3 this season.
I love it. I love it. Defensive showing for the ages. So we're going to make this show short and sweet. We got things on the agenda. It's also audio only today. Didn't have time to set up the video, and that takes about 30 seconds. So you can tell we're a little bit strapped for time, but got a little bit on the agenda. Sam, what do we have in store for today?
We're going to do some updates, state of the league, quick recap of some key matchups last week. We've got a new segment for you. It's 4 weeks in, so time to do trending up, trending down, teams with good outlooks and teams that maybe wish that they were in a different position right now. We got the suicide watch list. We got Gambler's Alley. Then we're going to chop it up a little bit about fantasy football.
Love that. I love that. Which part of that? Both? Fantasy or football? Fantasy.
Based on football.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. All right, so diving into week 4, guys. Quick recap. I'm going to start from what I'm looking at, top down. We had the Unseen Blade at 3-0 going against Casey's $1,500 team at 1-2, coming off scoring, I don't know, what did he have the week before? 68 or something like that. Upset of the week, I would say, not because my team is a juggernaut, but because the direction that Casey's team was pointing. He wins 119-115, officially Woody Marks season, showing out party for him. Bo goes for 30, and Tyreek early in that third quarter looks like a potential career-ending injury there.
Yeah.
Prayers up. Hopefully he recovers. Tough go all around, but shout out Casey for that big win. He goes to 2-2. I go to 3-1. We had the meat-coated Skele taking on the Titan Reaper, and man, did that Titan reap. That team is really coming into form. It looks like it's officially Omari and Hampton season.
Beast.
For us Charger fans, that's welcome news. For other reasons, we're not so happy this week. But 159-88, another down week for Graham. He's looking to get that figured out. Moving into week 5 against you, he goes to 1-3. Evan goes to 2-2. We had a really fun matchup here with Golden Age against Custom Made. Ben and Griffin going head to head. Always a good time when they play. Ben ends up squeaking it out 113-106. Lamar pulls up lame in that Kansas City game. Potential hamstring tweak. Griffin with some good defense there. But Ben with the better defense, we'll talk about this down the road, in stopping this heroic comeback from Griffin's two-headed Packer monster of Kraft and Love there. Griffin goes to 1-3. Ben rides a 3-game winning streak to 3-1. We had the Shadow Brigade, as you mentioned, picking up its first win of the season, a 92-82 win over Jason Poetic Justice. It was about time. Knocking on the door for a win there. Clamped up Jay, and you take that 92-82. 1-3, you move to Jay goes to 3-1. We had the Outlier getting back on track, bursting forward to the tune of 142 points. He takes down Luke 142-109. Brendan goes to 3-1. Luke goes to 2-2. Brendan hits 142 even with an early Neighbors ACL injury. Get healthy, Neighbors. Sorry about that, B. Didn't matter for your team. 142 nonetheless. And then lastly, the avalanche of the week. We call this positive touchdown regression, Sam. We talked about it all week. We talked about it for weeks. Griffin Springfield, big trip with a basically 180-point showing against Kendall, 179.94 to 108. Griffin gets his first one of the season. He goes to 1-3, knocks Kendall to 2-2, and gives Ken a huge boost in the points against rankings.
Yes,
there.
He does.
So, Kendall, I'm sure you like that. That's a lot of good content for you to run with in the points against section. So good for you. So yeah, that was week 4. I think for the first time, we really saw some insane blow-ups. We'd seen some good score, but I think this week was really the most boom or bust that we've seen all season.
Insane. A lot of points scored this week. Only 3 teams don't break 100. We have multiple teams above 140 points. Pretty wild. It's been a weird 4 weeks. 1 week seems like it's tough for anyone to break 100. This week was not one of those weeks. Fortunate that I played another team that didn't break 90. And wow.
It's always good when you're the 10th highest scorer playing the 12th, right?
Oh, man. Yeah. That's great. I'll take it. I've had top points dropped against me a couple times, so let's just say good karma. But spring, man, got to feel good to get your first win. That way, get out of the room, get off the list. 12 touchdowns. I think we counted them up. Just amazing touchdown regression. I think that's more touchdowns than my team has scored all season. So good on you, buddy. I hope that your guys can keep it going because holy crap, if 180 is the ceiling. Ooh.
I don't think that was the ceiling.
We got more to go. Huh?
I think he was just warming up.
Just warming up?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, Griffin said that wasn't enough. He said there was plays left on the field.
Isn't it weird how quickly just from week to week you can assimilate to your team scoring a ton of points and just normalize it? Like you just forget that you scored 72 points the previous week with essentially the same lineup, and this week it's 180, and that's it. That's just normal. That's what they should do on a weekly basis.
Yeah. I mean, what did Dobbs and Jacobs combine for? 56 or something?
56, I think. Yeah. Which to be expected.
It's just all in a day's work.
Yeah.
That's called, I think Griffin Hunter would say, dialing that up. What a Packers explosion. Imagine if you started loving that lineup.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious.
Packers
I guess
explosion in a crazy game, a 40-40 tie, by the way.
Crazy. I mean, fantasy points all around. Dak plays really well. I guess the Packers defense isn't what we thought it was. Pickens really coming out party.
Big game. Big CD game from George Pickens.
A big CD game from George Pickens. Yeah, that was super fun. A tie. Can't imagine Griffin's feeling great about that. But yeah, kudos to Griffin Springfield. There were just some splash weeks. Evan looking really scary, at least the top of that lineup there with Puka, Hampton, and Josh. Drake shows up and shows out, shows what he can be. Man, there's some scary teams in this league.
Yeah, I love how Evan's team's developed. I think after the draft, I would not have labeled him as having a just stout running back stable. But certainly now I think there's an argument he's got the best running back trio in the league, the best running back group in the league with the emergence of Amarion, with Brees being what Brees is supposed to be. So yeah.
Yeah, let's see what happens with Brees there. But that Dobbins situation, he looks really good.
Dobbins,
I mean, like even eye test wise, like Harvey got involved a little bit more last week, but the game was not close. Game script, I feel like, was in his favor. I think they're going to kind of rotate those two guys in a lot all year.
I think they will. I think JK's the trusted vet. He's better than RJ, at least right now. RJ got a lot of touches, especially towards the end of the game, because JK was just so gassed from running.
You called that early in the season. You called that. You said the RJ Harvey hype was way overblown.
Yeah. Well, I have a bias against rookie running backs, hyped rookie running backs in general. Especially when it comes to fantasy, I feel like more frequent than not, a hyped, especially high ADP rookie running back never lives up to expectations. And honestly, it's the Broncos. It's RJ Harvey. I mean, what are we talking about here? JK's a stud. He's been a stud every time he's healthy. So
yeah. So kudos there. Great pick. But we're going into week 5 now. And I feel like now is really the time where if your team is feeling good and healthy and clean, you feel pretty good about yourself at this point. And then there's that opposite sort of swing that you're starting to feel. Mm-hmm. It's also the first week of bye weeks. And so I'm looking around at week 5 matchups. I'm looking around at teams, and it's like, man, you can really start to feel this. You can start to feel that bodies are going down, bodies are missing. And I think you're going to kind of start to feel this is the sort of the precipice, right? Where you got to figure things out. You got to make moves. You got to scour the waiver wire. You got to plan ahead because, winter is coming. Unless you are blessed with the summer days in your team, you're going to feel it a little bit, right? And so, I mean, just looking around the league, I feel it myself, right? So in a span of 3 days, Tyreek's out for the season. I'm reading on my phone in live time. Benson's getting surgery on his knee and he's out 6 weeks. So when you think things are good, it's fantasy football. They're going to drop in a dime, right? Bye weeks are here. And so I think this is a good transition to the next section. And that section is trending up.
And trending down.
Let's do it.
Just to piggyback on that really quick, I think we saw, Ken mentioned it in the chat this morning, maybe the most active waiver wire that we've ever seen in the league. 11 of 12 teams contribute. Whoever that 12th team is, by the way, we'll have to take a look at that. But in a week where Neighbors goes down, so maybe there are some gems on the waiver wire, but no one really stood out to me as like, this is a must-have guy. We've got some potential fill-ins in Malik Washington going for $42, Darius Slayton for $20. Guys who have been around the league, who knows what role really they're going to, what value they'll really return, but still 11 people getting involved.
Yeah, this is good. I like this. Let's touch on this activity a little bit before we go into that segment, because it is good. I think there's sort of a broader sort of point at play here with all this activity. I think this is kind of where you really start to see that reduced bench size kind of take into effect, because anytime you see anything that would spark interest for a player that maybe isn't well known or could potentially become something valuable, there's going to be more of those guys available on the wire. There's regardless of having 7 spots or 6 spots, like that's not really going to impact the number of like very valuable guys just sitting there on the wire, right? Guys that can make an immediate impact. But there's going to be more of those like, oh, you heard a whisper of this, or oh, the tea leaves are saying this guy might be good, or oh, this injury might have springboarded this guy. And there was a lot of that this week. There was a lot of either injury, which resulted in sort of a domino effect with some roster positioning, or just certain tea leaves about different guys and how the impact that they can make, whether they were healthy scratches or whatever. And I think that resulted in this sort of influx of activity. And you look at it and you're like, wow, I don't see really anything that's going to maybe like potentially move the needle, but it's guys taking stabs to put these guys on their roster and shuffling pieces out that they don't think have that potential at the moment. So I think this is really where you start to see that reduction in bench space come to light at this point in the season, where people are guessing, they want to get ahead of the curve, they want to jump on the guy before someone else does. That's sort of my take on it.
No, 100%. And I love it. I think also that this year is maybe the most involved top to bottom that everyone in the league has been. We got Luke active on the waiver wire in early on. So a lot of that has to do, I think, Luke. Hats off to Ken for getting people engaged and getting people aware. I do think a lot of the analysis he's done about activity and positive impact of activity, people at least it appears are taking that to heart. And it's just fun, man. It's just fun to see that Minnesota Vikings third string running back get picked up in a bid battle. It's fun to see dudes who like no one even knew their names before the season going for $42. And it happens every year, but it's fun. And it's fun to wake up in the morning. I think I had 13 bids in last night.
Oh my gosh.
And just be like, who did I get? And I didn't get who came over the top on this person. And it's just fun. It's fun to see. It is
fun. It's fun. I don't get on the desktop enough for on my laptop because you can't see through the app on your phone. You're not privy to the actual bids and the fab. So
you can do it if you go just PSA. You can do it if you go to the chat icon. And there's a waiver report there, in a feed, and you can click on each one and see, who else bid.
Okay. Yeah. I didn't know that. It's not all like neatly organized here and displayed on the screen, but
it's way better on the desktop.
I'm realizing now that I hadn't checked this out in well over a week, and it's just fun looking at all the different offers. I love when people are just sitting there battling, because I do it all the time. You're just sitting there battling in your head of like, where should this fab bid land?
Yeah.
And I wish that I could hear the internal monologue of each manager as they're sitting there debating what's going to move the needle? Do I put it at this much? And I'd love to see how many times bids get changed after they were initially put.
Oh yeah.
Because it has to be a ton, right? Like you put in your first offer and you're sitting there, whether it's like 10 seconds later, 3 minutes, 4 hours later, you're like, no, that's not going to do it. You change it. You sit there a minute later, like, nah, that's not going to do it.
Yeah.
Or, I need to go less. Like I wish I could see it because it's fun once it's all said and done to like go back and look at all the offers and see who won and who didn't win. It's just the mindsets of different people and the information they take and the hope that they cling to is so different from person to person. It's just fun to observe.
100%. There's a lot of things you can infer from looking at these bids, when the value that people put in these players. And yeah, is it arbitrary? Is it just, look, I want to get this person on my team, or is it, I have a lot of conviction in this person. For me, it's always funny to see someone just really commit to spending a decent chunk of their fab on a player that either no one else bids on, or there's one bid for like $1 or something like that. It's always just mind games, everyone's doing their own thing. Everyone's team comps are different, and you can talk yourself into just about anyone being your savior for the season.
How about Brendan with the $10 Waller bid? Only to drop him a couple hours. Am I reading that right?
Yeah, no, that's what
Brendan,
happened.
Can you explain this in the chat if this is actually what happened? I'm looking at this $10 Waller bid and then Darren Waller dropped for Isaiah
Okay. Davis.
I like it.
Yeah, which is a good pickup. I like the Isaiah Davis pickup.
Chestnut
Braylon's
checkers.
gone for the season. Isaiah is sick if something were to happen to Braylon. So
couple injury dominoes here.
Oh yeah.
I'm curious to see what happens with Sladen if he can actually be fed by Dart in that offense. Apparently, he turned some decent value last year under a similar situation. Curious to see what happens with Bucky.
Yeah.
So Bucky's in a boot. As of this moment, it doesn't seem like it's overly serious, but probably doubtful for week 5. You just traded Purdy and White to Brendan for Drake May. I think Drake May seems like a great fantasy quarterback. That seemed like a really good trade for you. Great timing for Brendan there. I think that did happen while Bucky was being observed for a potential
he's scheduled
injury.
for an MRI. So, why not just have that insurance? And Drake's just sitting. Patrick's looking great. So Drake's just sitting on the bench this year. I think it's a great trade.
It ends up being a great trade for both people. We'll see what happens with Bucky. A couple other trades, right? We have this JMO and Quentin Johnson trade that happened recently. Jay, as most people would, banks on Ladd being, positive regression coming his way. He's not going to probably be starting 2 Charger receivers. He just shipped off Herbert. Gets JMO. JMO's been really good at times. And Luke gets Quentin Johnson, who is looking like a breakout this year. It looks like that is...
Quentin Johnson looks like he has top 10 potential this year. This pace he's on is crazy. What is he, wide receiver 3 or something right now from a fantasy perspective?
And what he has going for him, not only his place in the offense, because Keenan and Ladd are kind of filling somewhat similar spaces on the field, but he has that role, but he also has, when you're looking at the overall fantasy landscape, like a foothold for production that not a lot of receivers have taken by the reins this year in fantasy. I think traditionally when you look at a normal year, the top 8, 10, 15 guys, you can really be like, yeah, these guys are the guys that are elite. This year, you get to you go down the list and it gets squirrely fast.
Really fast.
Really, really fast. There's no reason, I think, at this point that you kind of look at Quentin Johnson. Obviously, you're going to be wary because it's him and you want to see more proof. But with the production that he's shown, and you look at the wide receivers and the positions that they're in, around him in the rest of season ranking of 8 to 20 or 8 to 15, it's why can't he stay there? There's a lot of people in a lot of tricky positions, weird quarterbacks, bad offenses, inconsistent play. This is a weird year for receiver, I feel like, and he might be a guy that no one expected, but he ends up in that top 10 spot.
100%. Yeah. He's playing at his ceiling, but his ceiling's really, really high. I think the situation with the Chargers is pass friendly. Obviously losing these offensive linemen, losing Najee, you don't want to lose Amarion as well. And Justin Herbert's an amazing passer. So I think they're going to continue being in these passing situations. So, I mean, I'm high on it. And I think we have a big enough sample size now to know it's not really just a fluke. It's not been just game plan. I think he's always had the talent. It's just execution that's been lacking in seasons past. And the team is just much better now. I think early on in his career was not a guy that could be relied on to make the difference.
Yeah.
But now he has Ladd, he has Keenan and a team around him where he can kind of go do his thing. The pressure's off. And I think it's turned into fantastic results. So I think he'll keep it up for sure.
And I think you're talking about like he's at a ceiling, but the ceiling is high. I go back to what I was saying about just the overall fantasy wide receiver landscape. Even if his ceiling, or I don't know, even if a game that you're like super stoked on him to have is 15 fantasy points or 16 fantasy points, maybe 75 yards, 80 yards and a touchdown, right? 16. That's really good this year. Like there's not a lot of wide receivers that are consistently hitting that at all. So it's just a weird year. And if he's going to keep production like that, like if he has 4 catches for 75 yards and a touchdown, obviously you're not going to have a touchdown every game. But if that's sort of like that ceiling game, that's good. That's really good this year. That is really good this year. And that probably puts him in the wide receiver 1
100%.
category.
And he's liable for multiple touchdowns, just that role he plays too.
Yeah.
5 catches, 2 touchdowns, 95 yards. Yeah. I love it. I love that trade for Luke. Luke's team is really coming together, especially if Pickens can keep it up after CD comes back. Moving on, another trade, QB and tight end swap between Jay and Ken. Jay gets the Colts stack. Ken gets his boy Herbert. Interesting trade. I love this trade for Jay. Tyler Warren, huge upgrade to Juwan. Ken gets his quarterback and knows that he's got Kittle coming back in a couple of weeks. So great trade there. And then early in the week, Luke and I got together and swapped Kenneth Walker and JMO for Montgomery and Rome. We'll see how that plays out. JMO just getting passed around like a vodka bottle at a house party this season.
I love that. I mean, I'm super high on Rome. I've been high on him even in the preseason. Looks like he's Caleb's guy. Obviously you can't expect touchdowns to come in 1s and 2s every single game, but his involvement, his talent level, his opportunity is going to be there all season. Understandable for Luke chasing Kenneth. Man, I'm not a fan of that trade for Luke. I think you win it easily there. I mean, who knows? Who knows what happens? But I think it's pretty one-sided. And I think just anytime Charbonnet is healthy, it's just going to be a thorn in Walker's side, really limiting his ceiling potential. I mean, he's sick. Even in the last game, he looked really good. But you see Charbonnet, scavenging those TDs and Walker getting more work. But if you're getting capsized by the TDs, that's a big deal if you're trading that much draft cap or that much roster capital.
Yeah, I think if you just look at this trade on its own, you can make the argument you just made that maybe Rome's the best piece in this trade, but Luke then goes and flips JMO for Quentin, and I got to say I'd much rather have Quentin and Kenneth, that combo, than Rome and David Montgomery. So I do think that that ultimately this is a good trade for Luke because he stayed active and went and got Quentin, who Quentin and Rome appear thus far to be pretty interchangeable in terms of the value that they can return. So a lot of activity.
Shout out Luke. Yeah, shout out Luke for keeping it going. I don't know if that was Jay's thing or his thing, but either way, it worked out, and we'll see how it plays out the rest of the way. But yeah, a lot of activity here. Let's keep it moving though. Let's finally hit that. Let's hit that trending down and then trending up segment. Like we said, this is going to be a shorter pod. We're even running short on time as we speak. So we'll make this short and sweet. Trending up, trending down. We're just going to highlight a couple teams. I'll let you kick it up. Sam, going into week 5, who is your trending up spotlight?
We got to take a look at the circus of the golden age. Ben's team, we've been saying it all season, is going to get better as time moves on. Team is trending up. I know that he just lost Lamar, so maybe timing is not great on this segment, but dudes are coming together. Quinshawn looking like a stud. Travion maybe finally falling into that role that he was drafted to be. Mecca, AJ's only going to get better, I think. So Ben, winning record, got a shot to go to 4-1 this week against Jason. Trending up.
I love that. Yeah. Fantasy is so weird because like in many ways I agree with that. And Ben's on a 3-game winning streak, but it's like a couple plays here and there. And like Ben loses that week 2 matchup and he like had a dud performance by his team. And then this past week, if something changes with Tucker Kraft, he loses that matchup. It scores 113, which is good. But then you're looking at, Lamar being banged up, AJ, utterly despicable performance. Is that going to be something that happens all year? You're looking at Travion. You would have thought that was a decent showing, but if you actually dive into the usage of that Pats game, I have Travion in the Boise League, so keep a close eye on that. It was a lot more disconcerting than
a little bit 3-headed committee, right?
A little bit three-headed committee, and not only that, but it was like you expected that to be against Carolina. They scored a bunch of points, and coming off the 3 fumbles by Gibson and Stevenson the game before, you thought that was going to be the game that really separated him moving forward. Now that looks like it's a little more murky. You're not really exactly sure what that's going to look like moving forward. He probably takes over at some point, but it's just seems like it'll be a little bit more delayed than we originally thought. So not to rain on the trending up parade, but it's just weird because then at the same side, you look at Egbuka to the moon, right? Looks amazing. And then obviously Quinshawn becoming
diamond in the rough.
It just in a matter of weeks going from not even signed to looks like he's a surefire guy. You're starting the rest of the year. So
putting up big numbers against good defenses.
Yeah, he looks really good. So awesome call. We'll see what happens with Ben and Lamar this week. But I'm going to highlight the scariest name in the league, my buddy, Evan Simmons, the Titan Reaper, going into week 5, trending up in a massive way. He's got Yeshua, the destroyer, obviously at the helm there. Puka on a historic pace. Where Puka went in the draft, what he paid for him, I don't even think it was in the 40s. That just is the slam dunk of the year. Dunk. He just looks so good. He's so involved. It just lights out. Like it looks like the bona fide number 1 wide receiver this year. Obviously what happened with Chase and Burrow. So I think hitting on that is just really, really, really awesome, especially with Josh up there. And then obviously Najee goes down, clears the runway for Hampton. And, the Chargers are going to have to lean on the run a lot more because of all and Slater out now. They want to keep Justin upright. I mean, that's the story of the Chargers history here. Is just, got a good quarterback, but you can't protect him. And he got banged around 50% of the times he dropped back last week against the Giants. So that's not sustainable. They're going to need to run the ball a lot more. And so it's Hampton's season, I think, officially. Drake going to buy this week, but he looked good. So there's a couple places, wide receiver 3, and we'll see what happens if Brees can be that guy or if Dobbins sustains that as that guy. But Ferguson looks great. And
yeah, Ferguson's looking like, just a stud. I think we'll see when CeeDee comes back if he keeps up this volume. But tight end 1, I think, over the last 3 weeks.
His usage is crazy. He's getting so many looks. So that looks like a really good hit. So Titan Reaper to the moon, pointing up.
All right, trending down. Which one do you want to take here?
You start.
Yeah, who do you want to take?
I'll take the more familiar one.
Trending down. Unfortunately, even though he's 3-1, and I hate to do this after just like getting a pretty undeserved win against you, Jay, but sorry, I got to say, Jay, trending down, 3-1, a lot of question marks on the team. The wide receiver situation looking murky at best, really banking on Ladd McConkey having some sort of positive regression. The T. Higgins, JMO combo, look, they can combine for, I think, 30, 40 on any given week, but it's going to be far and few between, opportunity lacking. JMO was targeted a ton of air yards last week, but just having a hard time getting on the same page as Goff. We all know the story with T, unfortunately. And, outside of Jonathan Taylor, the running back situation is looking kind of strange. There's talk that Alvin Kamara is going to get traded. If he does, what's that going to do to his usage? And really, he's a volume-based fantasy back. Tyler Warren, good trade, though, anchoring you in that tight end spot. So who knows? Is Daniel Jones for real? Played the first tough defense of the season last year and didn't, from a fantasy perspective, turn out too well for him. Just a lot of question marks, Jay. Solid draft. Looking really good early in the season, but, some adversity coming your way now. Let's see how you can respond to it. It's good to be 3-1, though.
Yeah, it's a good place to be 3-1. And speaking of 3-1, another 3-1 team goes onto this list. My spotlight for trending down going into week 5 is none other than the Unseen Blade. Again, fantasy it's a roller coaster, right? A couple plays here and there, and I'm feeling much different about this situation. Not only do I take the loss there, I think I probably win if Tyreek doesn't go down, but that's fantasy. Those injuries happen. But he's out for the season. That was a starting piece. I consider him a wide receiver too, with upside. Whether that's debatable or not, that's, for your own interpretation, but he gets axed. The season-ending ones are always fun. And then in lifetime today, Trey Benson has a mysterious meniscus injury. He had surgery and he's out 4 to 6 weeks. So where I once felt like I was on the path to 4-0 with a team with a lot of depth and pieces, I now sit at 3-1 and question marks. I mean, I've got a couple bye weeks this week as well, so I'm going to be shifting pieces around. Do I take a flyer, Sean Tucker season, if Bucky doesn't play? Do I throw Michael Carter in there, who I think will probably be the lead back with Benson out, with Demercado as the third down passing back? Either way, week 5, I've got question marks in the roster and the lineup, and I've got question marks moving forward. So, it hasn't played out yet. I could have a good week this week. I could, if I win 4-1 and the fill-in pieces do well, and Waddle steps in as a wide receiver 1 now, and he fully, I don't have to deal with the Waddle Tyreek thing, and somehow maybe it's a Ewing theory, addition by subtraction, and Ken's Dolphins clogging, somehow losing Tyreek was the sacrifice to the drown gods that was necessary for Waddle to become a better version than either of them would have been with them out there on the field together. Who knows?
Time will tell.
That possibility exists.
It does.
So,
a win would be huge. Buys you time for some of these pieces to become a little clearer. What are you working with here? Get Tajay back. Maybe he can be a piece. But yeah, tough one. Tough to navigate these injuries and bye weeks at the same time, especially just like the Benson one, just unexpected, just kind of out of nowhere, losing him for 6 weeks is tough, man.
And here's what I'll say. I do feel, if I'm going to have the injuries, I do feel a little bit fortunate that they were both accessory pieces to start the year for me. So obviously I would love to have Keenan right now, instead of Tyreek, obviously, but that's injury. That's, who knew he was going to have a season career-ending injury. But I'd love to have him, but he was a $2 flyer at the end of my draft. He wasn't drafted to be the guy. And then Benson, he was drafted as a handcuff, so he wasn't drafted as a starter. So he became that. So there's still pieces that were drafted to start that I have on the team. So hopefully I can ride it out. But yeah, it's nice to have those pieces for trade value, even though the trade ports have been a little bit dark barren of late. But yeah, that was trending up and trending down.
We have one honorable mention. I don't know. He doesn't really fit into either category, but let's just call him a survivor. And we got to bring up Casey Luna. Everyone, the Sharks circling his season looking like it was toast. People offering essentially coupons to Sam Goody for his top players. And Casey says, screw it. I'm going to hold on to Chase. I'm going to hold on to his 4-point performance, and I'm going to go out and drop 120 and get the win on the backs of Woody Marks and my dog, Almond Ra, and Bo Nix, who, true story, in real life is a horrible quarterback, but in terms of fantasy, drops 30. So honorable mention, Casey. Good job. Let's see what happens this week, huh?
Good job, Casey. A loss there, a bad loss, which many, I think, predicted, would have probably landed him into that space that people don't like to visit. And it's that special space that's reserved for a select few in our league that need to deal with the inner demons that fantasy forces us all to look in the mirror and really navigate. Casey Luna is not going into that room. Casey Luna is not on the suicide watch list this week. Wow, people are chopping down my palm trees in live time in the backyard. Probably have no idea there's plants below.
Wow, that's what's going on?
That's
crazy.
Interesting.
Anyway,
Are they
too bad
from?
we don't have the video up.
This is very curious. I'm really hoping that that's kosher where it lands. Anyways, there's a giant scythe hanging over my back wall. Suicide watch this week. We're going to bang through this. I think there's parts of this guy's team that he feels really good about. And it was a good performance last week, all things considered. But there were a couple key moments that I think would send anyone into the Shadowlands, would send anyone to go grab some coffee and get comfortable in that room. And that's Griffin Hunter. So come on in to our week 4 or post week 4 Suicide Watch. The Tucker Craft 1/1,000,000th inch line twice ruined what would have been an otherwise otherworldly comeback.
Would have been amazing.
And defeat of Ben.
Yeah, losing by a combined 0.3 microns is tough. It's tough.
Very tough, very tough. So whether you're actually feeling this way or not, we need some bodies this week. And that Tucker Craft thing would have sent me into a very bad, very dark place. So grab a donut, grab some coffee, chill out. Hoping to send you back here this week, but enjoy it. Enjoy it for the time being.
And our second member of the room, none other than the commish, Graham Simmons. And look, I think that it's just like a light visit. I don't know that you're here really needing the counsel, but the running back situation is looking bleak. Saquon has not been the boy he was last year. Not bad, but tough for him to repeat what that was last year. But it's really what's happening further down the roster. This is a team built on running backs, and you're just getting some inconsistent performances, dealing with injuries with Chuba. Kyron, is he good? Is he going to get benched? Tough to play that roulette every week, especially given the wide receiver situation. But look, brighter days ahead. I do think Michael Pittman's got some serious potential here. Godwin, can he get back to the wide receiver 2 ranks that he was last year before his foot pointed the wrong direction? And Caleb Williams, I know he's on bye this week, but he's looked like Ben Johnson's maybe capable of getting him ironed out. So all's to say, grab a donut, grab some coffee, but know that, probably this room is temporary for you.
It's okay. It's a safe place. It's a safe place. And do you feel like there's because you designated him into that room, that it's dangerous for your chances this week?
100%. Yeah. Meat coated skele dropping 120 plus. I've told this to everyone I've played this season. My team is just a magnet for 120 point performances. So I hate to do it. I hate to put you in the room when we're playing each other, but I can't put myself in there because I got to win.
Not a meat coated skele. So does that mean you're going to take him this week? Because I think we should roll right in. Let's roll right in. Let's get the gambling juices flowing.
Gamblers Alley.
Let's take a trip. Let's take a stroll to Gamblers Alley for our week 5 slate. I don't know how last week looked. I know that I didn't pick Griffin Springfield, so then I stopped sort of paying attention to the rest. I did have Casey though. Which should have counted as 2. But let's just roll right in. I'll let you take the floor. I'll let you go first. Who is your first pick for our Gamblers Alley?
I'm doing it. I'm taking Graham in my matchup. And this is not kosher. We usually don't pick our own matchups, but Graham, it's your week, buddy.
All right, let's go. I got the Shadow Brigade. So I'm happy. It's Tet season after all. So
it is.
Let's see if you can get one on the board. All right, let's do it. I'll do the same exact thing. Let's roll into my matchup, and I'm going to take Griffin Hunter. I think it's, let's see, who is he starting this week? Shaheed season. It's Wandale season.
Maybe.
And it's Minnesota against Dylan Gabriel's season. So
that's 30
dial
points.
up 70 for those guys combined.
Yeah.
30. You thought 30 was big 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Wait to see what Minnesota defense has in store. So let's go, Griff. I got you. Send me to the room. It's lining up for me to get sent to that room next week. So.
All right, I'm going to venture down to a match of juggernauts, the outlier, first place Brendan Hurley versus the aforementioned Titan Reaper. Reaper with Drake London on bye, but still, I think that he is going to cruise, and I'm going to take Evan over B trying to figure out what to do in absence of neighbors, and probably no Bucky Irving.
All right. I'm going to move over to 6 the hard way against Casey's $1,500 team. Listen, I don't know if 56 from Bo and Woody is happening back-to-back weeks. Bo is not playing the Bengals at home. He is playing at Philadelphia. And something about that says not the Bengals at home in a get-right game. So
Something about it
screams that. So I am going to take big trip here, 6 the hard way, in a really tough, tightly contested defensive matchup against Casey's team.
Booyah. All right. I am going to move over to the Lukening versus No Pride, No Data in what should be the most anticipated matchup of the week, but it's been quiet on the chat. Not a lot of shit talking going back and forth between these two. Maybe we can stoke the fire, get it burning. Come on, guys. Throw some shade at each other. This is it. This is what we've been waiting for. I'm going to take Luke. Luke's team just really looking like it's clicking, and he's at full strength this week. Some question marks over there on Ken's team. But let's go. Luke, you're my guy.
Oh, man. All right. I'm moving over to Poetic Justice versus the Golden Age. And listen, I know I gave a little bit of devil's advocate for the down direction of Ben's team. And I'm going to stay consistent to that. I'm going to take Jay here over Ben. He's got the Colts stack at home against the Raiders. Lad, he's got to score more than a point. JT, like I said, RB1 at home against the Raiders, dude. Alvin at home against the Giants. I like what Jay's team has the chance to do here, and I'm looking at Ben starting Diggs, Henderson, and Henry, the triple Pat stack
Against the Bills.
at Buffalo. Not only that, he has Quinshawn going against Minnesota, who's been pretty stout overall on defense. If there ever was a time for Ben to drop one, AJ getting locked up by Pat Surtain, Emeka at Seattle, like it's a tough go. I don't like these matchups at all.
Looking tough.
So I'm going to take Jay here. Of course, Ben will probably drop 140 on a mystery. I'll lose and he'll take first place. But Jay, let's get it going.
And that was Gambler's Alley, sponsored by
Captain Morgan Lime Buy, and we busted
Lime
out
Buy.
these last couple sections in less than about 9 minutes, which is really good for us considering we had that
really
trade
good.
partner segment that went about 45 minutes last time.
Yeah, that's really good. We're at 47 minutes. We got 3 minutes. We want to chop it up real quick.
Yeah, let's chop it up.
Let's chop it up, dude.
Let's chop it up. So we have. So for those of you that don't know, this fantasy. Is there a title for it?
Well, what I've been calling it when I originally was just like going to be selfishly about was just the Shadow Brigade.
Yeah.
But it needs something. It needs something else. It needs something. And I'm not sure what the title is yet. The title maybe will become more obvious as the story unfolds, but this thing's getting deeper. It's getting more involved.
Yeah.
I know you're writing some. Spring told me he's writing some. I would encourage anyone that wants to contribute in any form. Let's talk. I would love for it.
Is Strip actually writing some? Do we need to get on a 3-person thread here so we can stay consistent with plot lines?
Yeah, he told me he started working on something. Ken also told me he was working on a sort of a one-off kind of thing.
So here's what I think. I think individual contributions are obviously welcome and are awesome, but this is why we've been talking so much about it. I think to have everything connected is probably the best version of this.
100%.
Right? That keeps
100%.
consistent. If there's just sort of side things that come off without that connective tissue to the larger plot or story, I think that might get a little confusing, especially for people that aren't involved. right? So if you want to be involved, let's link up. So yeah, but with all that to say, I have been working on a little bit of side plot, I guess, or a little side story that connects with the larger one. We've been talking about it, fleshing it out together. And I think that'll get released today.
Yeah.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
I think that'll get released.
For sure.
So how do you like the direction that this is going? Like
So when I wrote the first one, I was just pumped for the season to start and wanted to put my team into stone and blah, blah, blah. So, but I think where it's gone now, like I'm really, really excited for it. You know, the kind of procedural weekly, let me write about my team and the team that I'm playing in a battle. Like, I think that was cool. I'm going to start moving away from that. So I've taken some liberties in describing some of the teams that I've played so far. I'm going to move away from that.
Okay.
And focus more on developing the overall plot, which will become more and more evident. So that's to say, anyone else that wants to get involved, writing, especially like the backstory of your team, your people, your kingdom, I would encourage you to do that because I think it just helps fill out the world a lot more.
And I think just because the individual battles aren't going to be spotlighted as much, because within those spotlights, as you said, you are taking sort of like creative control over describing the house that you're playing against or that part of the kingdom, right? And so the only attachment to the larger world would be that battle and their description in that battle. Just because that's not happening doesn't mean it'll be probably described as sort of like the 12 kingdoms or 12 houses won't be flushed out as this story goes, because even on my side, I'm trying to help with that, to flush out the world, make it a little bit more expanded. And then eventually, and we'll talk about this more, but it would be cool at some point, it doesn't have to be directly through one-on-one battle, but to put spotlight on all of the houses in some way so that it really does bring this whole larger realm to life.
For sure.
In a more holistic way.
One of the things that I'm going to be working on this week is putting actually the physical world together, making a map for everyone to look at. And yeah, we're working on like the deeper sort of plot, the overarching thing. Why do we fight? What is the season of campaign? What are these battles that these people are fighting and have been fighting for generations and generations? And what's at stake here? What's at play? So
I think it's really fun too, and we'll wrap this up here in just a second, but to have it be such a fluid organism, the story, right? To start from, as you said, more of just this fun chronicling of the Shadow Brigade, army focused, and just like pretty much the battle and the next battle on the horizon. To each week it become more expansive, but not have that planned out before. So now as we build on it, we're still drawing from what's canon, but we have to do it in a creative way that both ties together what's already been said while also expanding the world and building out the plot. So I think that's a really cool thing that, because each week it becomes more fleshed out organically. It's not like you had this huge outline to start and you've been following it. So that's been a cool thing, even as I've jumped in to navigate and kind of talking with you and making sure that we're aligned and this is going with the overall plot and in the future of it, because that's not even totally mapped out, but we're working through that now. So it's been a fun creative process, I think. Just speaking on my side, to jump in and try to help flesh it out.
Yeah, I mean, and it's fantasy football, so of course it needs a fantasy fan fiction, support material, I think, to go on with the season. Of course. It's a good use of time.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an absolutely just great use of time. So yeah, if anyone has hours to spare and you'd like to flush out your side,
well, this is how
let's
I look
hop on
at
the group chat.
Like we all do things in our life to kill time, right? Even those of us with kids. And this is just fun, but I would argue it's a creative outlet. It's a way to flex and use your brain. There's more to it, beneficial,
right?
In terms
certainly
versus
better
just
than doom scrolling.
Yeah, doom scrolling,
or watching some show that
whatever.
Would check Netflix for 20 minutes and landed on something that you didn't even want to watch, and so you're half watching, half doing whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. So
and it lives forever. We'll like always have the story. So
super fun. Hope you guys are enjoying it. Obviously, kudos to Sam for doing it, taking the time for, creating this world. And, hopefully you enjoy my input as well, because we're going to start building it out and hopefully working sort of side by side because this is a lot. It's a lot. It's like we get talking about this. Like we literally talked about the last 2 podcasts. We talked about this way more than we talked about football. Yeah. We're like, we talked about this for like 45 minutes and then we're like, all right, what are we talking about for the podcast? So there's a lot here, especially if you like the fantasy genre and your brain gets working with this. Like there's so many ways you can go. And then when you have so much content at your disposal, each little piece of content can be its own thing. And so it's just a lot. So like the more hands on deck and minds you have working and assisting, the better, or else it's a lot on one person's shoulder. So hopefully we can do it justice and not get too out of control, but have it be a fun outlet even for people to read and draw 100%.
100%.
So, anyways, guys, that was our pre-week 5 episode of the FFtilD podcast. Excited to see what this week brings. Lots of change, lots of turmoil. Good luck with your buys. Good luck with your injuries. Good luck to everyone out there except for Mr. Hunter. Great job on the battle rope there on the rope climb, but I hope you have a little bit less luck.
Not ringing the bell this week, Hunter, and good luck to everyone except for you. Graham, Kamish, sorry to put you in the room. Let's hope you stay there.
Have a great rest of your week, guys. We love you, and we'll see you soon. Peace.
Manipulation. HIV